All right, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your
Um,
Honor.
County Court of Law number 4 is back in session here. Today's date being June 18, 2020. And next case here is Yarazet Hernandez as next friend of minor versus All State Fire and Casualty Insurance Company, cost number CL 2085D. And I believe for the record, we have Mr. Mario Garcia, an item.
That's correct, Your Honor. Mario Garcia, guardian ad litem for the minor NH.
All right, Mr. Fidel Peña.
Yes, Your Honor, plaintiff's counsel.
And then we have Mr. John Schultz.
Yes, Your Honor. John Schultz standing in for Gina Vela on behalf of defendant Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company.
All right, and I think we have our one and only witness here. Is that going to be Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
All right, Lily
Hello.
Hernandez, right, ma'am?
Yaracet, that's my daughter's under Lily. I
Okay.
don't have a laptop. I have to use my daughter's.
Okay, well, good afternoon. And please raise your right hand, ma'am. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You may
That's
put your hand down.
Thank you.
And who's going to get us started here?
Mario,
Mr.
Yeah,
Peña?
Your Honor.
The wrong hand.
I
Mr.
can do it, Your
Peña,
Honor.
you may begin.
Mario, go ahead, Mario, if you want.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Mario? Yeah.
Yes, Ms. Hernandez, can you say your name for the record again?
Yaracet Hernandez?
Yes, and you're the biological mother of Noah Hernandez, minor.
Yes.
And his
Yes.
date of birth is December 30th, 2010.
Yes.
Now, on September 10, 2018, Noah was riding as a passenger in his father's car, and there was an accident where the car was rear-ended, correct?
Yes.
And as a result of that accident, your son needed medical treatment.
Yes.
And so he went to Nat Medical Center, is that correct?
Yes.
And he also, after that, he went to Dr. Jorge Sainz,
Yes.
and he also went to get some chiropractic treatment.
Yes, sir.
And that would have been at All STX Rehab and Chiropractic.
Yes.
And your son was complaining of neck and back pain and some headaches that were kind of towards the back part of the head, the part closest to the neck. Is that correct?
Yes.
And there was X-ray that was ordered by Dr. Sainz. Luckily, the X-ray came back that there were no fractures or dislocations, correct?
Yes.
Now, the X-ray did show that could tell that there was some what they call cervical lordosis and some spasms. So he did sustain a soft tissue injury to his neck, basically. Is that correct?
Yes.
Then he went through chiropractic treatments and he finished those sometime in 2019. Is that correct?
I believe it was either December or January, yes, of the
Right.
2019, yeah. 2019.
And he went approximately 3 times a week for about 4 to 6 weeks. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did the doctor, you spoke to the doctor at the last visit?
Yes.
And did the doctor clear your son back to normal activities?
Yes.
And so your son is now able to, walk, run. He has no physical disabilities that are enduring from this accident. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct. Yes.
And now, Mr. Peña is your attorney, and he reviewed with you some medical expenses. Is that correct?
Yes.
And now they did a good job in that they received a lot of reductions from the medical providers. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And at the time, your son used his CHIP card or CHIP Medicaid to use to pay for some of the bills. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And like I met with you earlier and we reviewed your son's case. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And we went over these medical bills. And as a result of that, there is a very small lien from Superior Health or CHIP, which is $69.37. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and then we also have Nat Medical Center, the balance there after CHIP paid for it, $51.36.
yes,
And Dr. Jorge Sainz is $1,100. Is that correct?
yes,
And Texas Healthcare Imaging for the X-rays was $200.
yes, sir.
And then we have the chiropractic company that was $2,000, correct?
Yes,
Now, most of those have been reduced by 50% or more. And we went over that and we confirmed that, correct?
yes, sir.
Now, there's only one bill, I'll let Mr. Peña address it later, that you had a question on, and that was with the Medicare EMS ambulance bill, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the reason is that you showed me when we went over it, there was a discrepancy in that math-wise, they calculated their charges wrong, so they gave you a higher number instead of a lower number, right? That was
Yes,
one
sir.
error, mathematical calculation error. And then you believe that perhaps he was overcharged for services because your husband who was in the accident, and then your son's older brother who was in the accident went in the ambulance, correct?
Yes,
All three together in the same ambulance to the hospital.
yes, sir.
And I believe they stated that, and I think you met them at the hospital, correct?
Yes,
And you really didn't see any treatment done by the ambulance people,
right.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Nor did your husband, correct?
Right. Yes,
Okay. And so as part of this case, you understand that we're here because the judge is going to see if he approves the proposed settlement. Is that correct?
yes, sir.
That's since Noah is a minor. So as he's a minor, he does not have the legal capacity to make his own decision whether he will accept this settlement or not in terms of considering it as reasonable or not, correct?
Correct. Yes,
And in looking at the circumstances here of the entire accident and what you and I reviewed with the medical bills, medical records, and in you personally observing, of course, your son, every day since the accident. And what you reported to me was that basically your son Noah is back to good health and he has no lingering or permanent problems or disabilities arising from this car accident, correct?
correct.
And so what is your opinion as far as, do you think that the judge should approve this proposed settlement in that it would be reasonable and in the best interest of your son, knowing that the settlement is for $11,000, okay, minus the attorney's fees, all right,
Yes.
which is 1/3 of the $11,000,
Mhm.
and minus the medical bills I just explained to you, okay? And there are some minor case expenses. I believe they're under $100 in this case. So from what we have here, and not considering the EMS bill, we'll let Mr. Peña address that. If the judge were to approve that, then the judge would have a net amount of $3,836.94 to deposit into the court's registry until Noah turns 18. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Knowing all this, what would you tell the court? Do you think it's in the best interest of your child? And do you recommend that the judge should approve this proposed settlement?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do feel the judge, I would hope the judge would be able to approve the settlement.
Okay. And you understand that this money was, if the judge approves it, this money will stay in the court's registry until Noah is 18 years of age. Is that correct?
Yes, I understand. That's correct.
Now, there are some exceptions which would require, if there's a medical emergency where he needs medical bills or a school emergency, then you would need to apply or petition the court to withdraw a certain amount of funds, but it would be up to the judge to decide based on the evidence you submit whether it would be a reasonable request or not. You understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And you understand that you cannot come back, if the judge approves it, you can't come back later today or tomorrow or in 5 years and say, hey, I changed my mind. We want to have, we think there should be more money paid to NOAA. You understand that you can't come back and do that.
Yes, I understand.
Your Honor, for now, I'll pass the witness. I can give my recommendation at close to the end of the hearing.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Peña?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Hernandez, one question that's come up is the Medicare EMS bill. That was initially $1,741. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall coming into my office and signing a release, though?
Yes, sir.
Do you have that copy of the release in front of you?
No,
By
I do
chance?
not. No,
Okay.
I don't.
Well, in the release, I'll inform you that with regard to that payment, the release does not reflect anything with regard to Medicare EMS. I believe my office took care of that because of the questions that Mr. Garcia was raising and all. If for whatever reason there is still a problem there, please come back to my office and we'll handle it because it's not part of the release. I believe we were able to clear that up with regard to your son Noah. Okay.
Right.
With that being said, you understood the medical bills were in excess of $9,000, and my office was able to reduce them to just under $3,500.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were you satisfied with the services we provided you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And again, you understand that if the judge accepts this, the money will be placed in the register of court for the use and benefit of NOAA. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Garcia was very, very good in informing you what steps need to be taken if NOAA or you feel needs to be petition the judge to have money set or taken out for NOAA. Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
I would ask that if that occurs, you could please come back to my office and look for me, and I will help you with regard to that process.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
With that being said, Your Honor, I pass the witness.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Schultz?
Yes, Your Honor, briefly. Just to reiterate a couple of points, Ms. Hernandez,
Yes,
my
sir.
understanding is that of the $11,000 settlement that we're discussing, $7,163.06 will be used to pay for your son's attorney's fees to Mr. Peña, as well as to pay for the assorted medical costs. That's your
Yes.
understanding?
Yes.
And that would leave the remainder, $3,836.94 to go into the deposit of the registry of the court for your son when he turns 18.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You understand that the 7,000 roughly number sum that's going to go towards attorney's fees and medical costs will need to be paid first towards any lien holders, specifically the Superior Health lien from Chip and the lien from Nat Medical. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And as you indicated, ma'am, your son has made a full and complete recovery since this accident. Is that correct?
Yes.
You understand that in urging the court to approve this settlement, should the court approve this settlement, you and your son will not be entitled to come back at a later date and say if there's any further problems for any reason to make any further claim based on this accident. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And given all that, do you still believe that it is in the best interest of your son that this settlement be approved?
Yes, sir.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schultz. At this time, court will take judicial notice of the entire filing, cost number CL 2085D in the case of Yaret Hernandez, his next friend of minor versus Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance. With respect to the recommendations of the Atlanta court, will go ahead and approve the minor's settlement, and therefore will also await a judgment for signature.
Just a record, yes, I did recommend approval, and we'll wait for the parties to circulate the settlement release and the judgment to be filed with the court, so that then Mr. Schultz and Mr. Peña can work on dispersing the checks, especially the one to be deposited into the court's registry. I know the court doesn't like this matter to be lingering, so hopefully we can do it in the next 2 weeks, possibly.
All right,
Is that okay with the parties?
Absolutely.
very well. Thank you very much, everybody. You all may be excused.
Your Honor,
Thank you so much.
briefly before we are excused, I'm sorry,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Garcia, did you have a proposed ad litem fee?
I tried calling Gina earlier, but I know she's busy. And I'll leave it up to the court, of course, but I would think, maybe, $1,500, something like that.
Okay,
We can agree to that, Your Honor.
all right, just, you can include it in the judgment, okay?
Yes, Your
All
Honor.
right, thank you all very much. You all may be excused.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Bye, Ms.
Have
Hernandez.
a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.